Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
This is what I tell them. Look, I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. How to code, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with another episode of the Success Chronicles. Really excited about this one to have Coach Lucero on with us, a great guy, blessed and fortunate to do some great things, and I'm truly grateful to have him. So first off, Coach, thanks so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Look forward to it and get excited to talk about some stuff here.
Yes, sir. Let's dive into it. If you don't mind sharing with the audience a little bit about your background, your story, so they have an idea of who you are and what it is you do.
Okay, so I was born in Albuquerque, New Mexico, 1976. So starting to get up there in age a little bit. In '84, my family moved to El Paso, and that's where I went to mostly elementary school through high school, and then when I graduated, my family moved to the Metroplex. And so I played basketball and soccer through high school, and lucky enough to play on some really good teams. And got to the Metroplex and played 2 years at a community college, North Lake Community College there in Dallas. And then that was about the time for me to hang it up. I wasn't really, I wasn't a scholarship player. So then it was kind of like you go play the D3 and maybe take on some loans and have to pay for school. And so, I went to UTA there in Arlington, was working for my dad for the business that he had. And, I mentioned in the talk the other day when we met, it took me a little while to get through school. I just wasn't a good student. And, the 2 years of junior college really helped me because, after getting 2 years of school done, you're like, well, I could finish the next two. So it took me a while to finally get through. At one point, I knew I didn't want to be a truck driver anymore. I was doing a lot of pickup and delivery for my dad. And so it's time for me to buckle down. And so I graduated with a history degree, and then luckily I was able to get hired in Nacogdoches in East Texas to teach and coach. And so that was my first teaching job. I taught world history there and was assistant basketball coach and assistant golf for a year. And then I got an assistant girls track and then back to golf. And then my last year I didn't have a second sport. So it was just really fortunate that I got to start coaching. And, I moved right into the high school, didn't have to coach football, which doesn't happen very often in the great state of Texas. Almost everybody has to coach football at some point. And so we were there for 4 years. And my wife, well, we started dating at the time. She was from Katy, Texas, from Houston. She was going to SFA. And so we started dating, and then she graduated and moved to Houston. And so my last year, we were dating and living apart. And so I was like, I really wanted to get closer to her. So I thought about going to Houston and teaching and coaching there in Katy. But one of our players was going to UT, and Coach Barnes said I could try to get into college coaching. And so I had a volunteer spot there at UT. And it was a really good learning experience for me. Damien was a freshman, and he started school with his freshman class with Kevin, KD, DJ Augustine, Justin Mason, Matt Hill, Dexter Pittman from Houston, and Harrison Smith from Houston. So it was a really good class.
Good group.
Man, it was a good team and some really good, just at the time they were kids, they're 18 years. Now they're, 34, 35. They were just really good kids. And so I learned a ton, but it wasn't a job. And at the time I was living with my aunt and my uncle, and a job here at Westlake opened up teaching. And so I started teaching here that December. I still got to go up to UT and watch all the practices and stuff. But worked my way into an assistant spot here at Westlake. So I was assistant coach here for 5 years. And then got an opportunity to coach at Hayes, which is just between Austin and San Antonio, as my first head job. I think that was 2014. We had a good season, and then moved back to Westlake and just finished up our 8th year here as Westlake as the head coach. So I been teaching for 19, 10 of it as assistant, and then 9 of it as a head coach. So I kind of have, taught world history for 18 years, and now a PE teacher. It's a yoga class here at Westlake, so it's great. But kind of done it all as far as the jobs you can have in high school.
That's good stuff, Coach. Such a good journey. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, what are 3 things you've accomplished in your life that you're proud of?
Yeah, that's a tough question because every time I start to think about pride, I feel you get your ego. It's like
Yes.
what I've been trying to push down with the coaching job, and even the things that you tell the team. You want to try to get away from the ego, and it's about everybody that's around you. So anytime I preface an answer with things I'm proud of, I always want everybody to know I'm proud of it, but there's a lot of people that have been involved in helping me accomplish things. Most of
Yes.
the time, since I coach a team sport, it wasn't me. It's the group, it's the assistants, it's the players, it's the parents, our administration, it's everybody involved and I've been lucky to be part of some really good programs. So the three things, one, definitely my family. I have a wife that we've been married for 15 years now, and I love her, and I think she loves me most of the time. So yeah, we dated for 3 years and been together for 15 years. So I know that there's some things that I do that she puts up with. But I'm definitely proud of that relationship that we have. And then we have two boys now, and so our two little guys. The thing probably that I'm most proud of. I I think I was like 42 when we had our youngest. Our oldest son. So I was a little bit older. We had there for a while, and we had kids later in our marriage because of some health complications my wife went through. And so, it's great for us because the good Lord always gives you things when you're ready for them. And I think because of our experiences, we can try to be better parents than maybe we would have at a younger age. But I'm just really proud of our family. No matter what happens, I know I got those three people at home to lean on. I think I'm also proud of the times in my life when we encounter some challenges, and you have to make the decision if you're going to try to grow and get better, or if you're going to go a different way and maybe I don't know if run from it or hide from it is the right word. Um, that I didn't run from it. Kept on trying to get better, and so there were some times in coaching, especially when I became a head coach. When you're assistant coach, things aren't as personal. You're assistant, you get to make the
Yep.
suggestions.
Yes,
You get
sir.
when you go home at night, if it doesn't go right, you always have
You can
that thing in the
sleep.
back of your yeah
Mhm.
yeah. You can sleep. You can say, "Well, I told him we could do it a different way." But when you get to be a head coach, and you have to make all the decisions, and everything is kind of a reflection of you, uh, then I think I started to take things. You take it real personal, and so things were difficult. Every season has challenges, and when I was a younger head coach, I just thought I had some time. There were some times where I didn't know if I wanted to do this job. I was like, man, I could just go back to being an assistant. I could become a referee and still be close to the game. And I actually, I told my principal and Coach Richardson, the coach that got me into coaching, and our friend Charles Ament, after one tournament, I was like, man, I think I lost this team. This is, I think, my third year or fourth year as the head coach. And luckily, you get back on track and you keep trying to get better, and you try to, continue to grow relationships. And so I stayed with it, and I'm still here, still coaching. And some of the kids that were on those teams, you know, the lessons that we learned as a staff with those players are kind of what allow you to grow and to be able to coach the kids that you are with now on these teams. And when we're young, we don't have the foresight to say, this is going to help me to be a better coach, a better dad, a better person in 5 years or 10 years. We just can only, see day to day. And so, all the kids that were on those teams that we had some challenges with, I'm still real close with. And, we can laugh about some of our challenges now that it's 5 years later, and we can be grateful that we all went through that, because it helped us to grow and to mature. And just sometimes when we hit those struggles, we don't want to fight through. We don't want to learn the lesson that
Yep.
that that,
Yep.
that God's
Yep.
trying to teach us. So I'm proud that we're still with it here. And then as far as being a basketball coach, I love the game and winning is really important and all that, but all the stops I've been at, it's not just because of me, but because of everybody involved. I feel like basketball has been a vehicle to help kids grow. It hasn't been just about basketball. It's been more personal. It's personal to the kids. It's personal to the parents. It really means something when it's all said and done to the kids that played. At least that's my perspective. You probably have to ask all the parents and all the kids. Some people might have a different view, but it just seems that it means more to them when it's done than just the game they played in high school. There's lessons that are learned along the way, and it's something that they can be proud of also. So those are the things that I think the three things that I'm kind of proud of.
Coach, I can definitely say, and this is just me, this is just my personal, so whatever. I think that those kids and those parents and that community, that school are truly blessed to have you. How you operate, how you do your thing. I love, how you cherish the relationships. I love how you have the growth mindset. And it's a little funny for me. I have a little deal. I look at all, like the challenges. Now, like you said, as we matured, we can look at the challenges as growth. Like, it might have hit us hard earlier, but now we look at it as, oh man. I tell my son, like, man, I got better today. You're like, have a bad day. Man, I learned today. I got better today, dog.
Yeah, and you get to teach the kids that, like right now, we had, a really good season last year. But we had a lot of kids graduate, and so we're a little bit inexperienced. And so now in our athletic period, in our practices, we're having some challenges and some struggles. And I always have to remind them at the end, hey, if it's a pretty practice and we didn't have any conflict at all, we didn't get better. And so when we are encountering these challenges, you're going to grow from it. And it's the springtime, and we got summer and we got fall and we got a long time to prepare before next season. And so, that was like one of the lessons I really felt like I learned in coaching, and life throws it at you where you have to make decisions. I've shared in some other podcasts with my wife. When she was 27, she had breast cancer, so she was really young. And I think that experience probably taught me the most, because you can be upset or you can be grateful that the doctors found it at that early age. And then now you can continue to move on, and you have two boys, and then our son Bo had to have a heart surgery when he was 6 months, and then Crystal was like, well, now I know why I went through my challenges, because I need to be here for Bo. And so, like, all those little lessons at the time, you don't know how it's going to affect you down the road in 10 years, 15 years, and so you can help your guys here at the high school have that understanding. You're encountering this when you're 16, 17 years old. Just think about, if you learn how to manage these relationships now, how much better you're going to be at 25. I learned these lessons when I was 35 and 40. You're learning it when you're 16 to 17.
Yes, I think too. Like you said, the idea of teaching them awareness, like you talked about. Hey, like, you're 16, but be aware of this. This is how it's going to help you. Teaching life through the sports. And
that's what helps us to, have to be the coaches we want to be. Like like when it's just about ball, there's always something that's missing. If it's not, if we wanted to really like just be about wins and losses, we could try to get into college or professional, where maybe it's a little bit less intimate with the relationships and it's more just about winning. But where we're at, we have that ability to try to use it to help a bunch of people
and change lives.
Yes sir.
Well, just hearing you talk about your background, your journey, hearing you talk about the things that you're proud of, Coach, I would consider that to be hugely successful. So let's hit on success. What is your definition of success?
That's one. We talk about this with our guys quite a bit too in basketball, because I think it's a little bit different for everybody, and I think it's a little bit different for different parts of your life. I think there's some things personally, like from myself, that if I have a successful day, if I'm bettering myself, if I'm treating my family the right way, if I'm getting my workout in, I'm eating the right food, and like all that, learning something, I think that could be, for me on a personal level, it's kind of like success. But then, there's some relationships like with my sons, when they get to be an age where they don't need me anymore, I think that will be successful. Like, you want them to grow to the point where they can move on without you holding their hand, and they're little, man. They're 10 months, 3 years. So thank God we got a long time before we have to encounter that, because I'll be heartbroken when they don't need me anymore. But that's also like the goal down the road. So I think that's successful. And then, with basketball teams, we set up some goals that You want to try to hit, we have game goals to show success, whether we win or lose, we know that we're growing from this, or at the end of the season, these are the goals that we had, to try to measure success, to quantify it a little bit. But the goal that I like the most, that I think all of our guys now through our culture class here have kind of picked up on, is at the end of the year, we want to be able to have peace with the job that we did. And there's nobody that can tell us if we did the job that our best job, except for our individual self. Like I want to be able to wake up, and when I'm getting ready to come to school after our last game, know, man, I did my best job for that team. And then I can have peace, win or lose. But this is another lesson I had to learn, because there were seasons that ended where I didn't have that peace. I was like, man, I should have done this better. I should have had this conversation. I don't really like the way I managed games, or I don't really like the way I set up practice. I don't like the way I encountered with certain players at different times. And so I didn't have peace about the job that I did. And so I think that's the main goal now. Like, we want all of our guys to look in the mirror at the end of the day and say, I know that we did our best job, and then we can have peace about it. And then regardless of win or lose, then, it's successful for us. And we've been pretty fortunate to have some seasons here where we got close to winning state championships and made a state tournament. We haven't got over the hump where we won one. But I do think there are some teams where I don't like when one of your players finishes a season and then they tell you, Coach, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have had these conversations. And that's what happened after those years, because either I didn't help that player grow enough, or I didn't create the environment to help them to have free communication amongst everybody where they felt comfortable. I didn't help them to grow, to understand the voice they could have had with the team. And so then you have that regret. And so it's really more about, letting you feel like you let some players down along the way. And that's when you don't have peace about the season. So I think that's kind of like the way you start to define it. It's hard to quantify sometimes, though, like, yes. It's not just not a number on the board. It's not like we got this many rebounds or we held them to this, shooting percentage. It's a little bit harder to gauge sometimes.
I love that you talk about peace, because I agree. There's a quote that I shared that I say, I think inner peace, INNER, peace, allows you to enter peace, ENTER.
Yeah.
And then when you can work to have that inner peace, oh my gosh, great things come from that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And when you have that peace inside, and you can kind of put your ego down a little bit, and it's not about you, then you can have empathy for the people you're around. And so that's helped me a ton to have more peace inside, like you're saying, because now when a student and a player is going through something challenging, it doesn't have to be with basketball, it could be something away from school, something that they're encountering. Well, sometimes, man, they say some things to me that, it just comes out, if I'm gonna push them, and it's going to be emotional. And if I'm going to try to help them to grow and to communicate and to say what's on their mind, well, then sometimes that means they say some things, and I'm okay with it, because I know that that's help. They're working through an issue, and I'm just a vehicle that they're working through the issue with. It is not, they might say, and they might really be upset with me in the moment, but I'm not going to hold on to it. I have that peace inside, like you said. I'm not going to hold on to it, because I know, like, later on, he's going to text me, hey, Coach, I shouldn't have said that. This is what I'm going through, and then it opens up the dialogue to have a conversation that's meaningful. So.
Yep. And it shows them that regardless, he's there, he's rocking with me. He rides with me.
Yeah, like, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, and that's such a great feeling when you know that you have people like that in your life. Yeah. Well, before we get off, Coach, if you don't mind sharing with the audience where they can go follow you and check you out and show you some love. Oh,
well, I have Instagram. I think it's Bonifacio Lucero. My first name is Bonifacio, so it's BONIFACIO LUCERO. And then we have a Shap basketball for the high school. And I think Shap basketball Twitter, and then my own personal Bones Lucero Twitter. So, if anybody had any questions, they could always reach out, and I'll get back to them. Basketball stuff, culture stuff with our program, I'm really open to share, because I feel like when you do that, you're also going to learn. It helps me to learn more than anything. I did a couple of years ago. It was after I think it was 2 years ago when we lost to Duncanville in the state finals. I did try to stay off my social media for a while. I thought I was turning into one of the kids, so sometimes if I don't check it, got 2 boys at home, and so I know if I pick my phone up, my wife's gonna look at me funny, like, "Come on now, you're at home now, keep the phone down." So, if somebody reaches out, I'll definitely get back to them eventually.
I love it, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Well, again, I just want to say thanks so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles. Truly appreciate it, and I wish you continued success.
Same. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you guys for checking out this episode. We'll see you next time. God bless.
Go get it.